Hey everyone, Griff Hamlin here. Welcome, thanks for joining me. In today's video, you'll notice that you're looking at a computer screen and not me. Today's video is actually about a tool that I use a lot in my studio, both for my own self, for learning new things, or for transcribing things. For example, the Solo of the Masters Monthly. I use this constantly for that. I use it for transcribing things for my students. It's a very useful tool in a lot of ways, and it's one that a lot of my students ask me about. So I wanted to share it with you. I've been using this now for several months, actually, maybe a year or two. It's hard for me to remember, but now that I've gotten so used to it, I don't know if I could get along without it. It's called Video Surgeon, and I'm currently running it on a Windows computer, but I believe it runs on a Mac as well. And it does a lot of things that, to be perfectly honest, I don't know how to do. So I'm going to show you how to use it in the way that I use it, the way that makes the most sense, the way that I believe will work very well for you. But I'll point out some other things along the way that I know it can do that I just don't really take advantage of. So the first way that I use it is in practicing. So let's say, for example, that you have a video, like a Blues Guitar 2.0 video. We'll take one of the solo examples, like solo 3 full speed example there. And you'll see that it's now down, you see kind of this, what they call the timeline, and you can see the audio on there. So if I can move this, I can pull it, by hand. You can go to any point in the video. And if I hit play, okay, so there's the video. Now, what I always recommend is to practice in sections, right? So what you can do with this that makes it so powerful and so useful is, let's say I go back kind of to the beginning. I'm going to make a loop, or I'm going to make a region, whatever you want to call it. So I'm going to use the start button to notate the start of my loop, and the end to notate the end of a phrase, and then it'll just play that back for me. So if I hit play, and I'll do start,
1, 2, 3, 4.
And then let's say I'm gonna work on this first phrase. So now it's over. I'll hit end. Okay. Now if I click this, it goes back to the beginning of it, and I can hit play.
1, 2, 3, 4.
And notice that it just went back to the beginning and started over again. And it'll do that for you all day long, which is really, really, really handy. Now let's say it's too hard, right? Well, how about if we slow it down to 50%? And let's say you get pretty good at that. You can go straight to 75%, or you could go to maybe 65%. You don't have to, you can go somewhere in the middle.
2, 3, 4.
Okay, so that is incredibly useful. And for, if you're learning something new, or you're working on a solo, and you can expand this, like let's say you get the second phrase down, right? So you go, you can kind of stretch this out. You just grab it and stretch it out. And let's say you want to now practice just that much. So fine, that's where you put your end marker. Go back to the beginning and hit it, and you can just go straight, you can hit that and go right back to 100%. So it's really great for working on these, little sections. Now, all of this stuff in here, you can cut and splice up videos. Like if you, a little bit later, I'll show you another way we use this. If you've got a bunch of extra stuff on here you don't want, you can delete it. Really cool. You can set up multiple ones of these loops, I believe, and there's markers too. I'm not 100% sure what they do. I don't really use any of that, so this is how I use it, and I use it like this all the time. So I don't know how to do anything else. I know that you can set little markers, and you can think you can name them, you know, like this is, you know, chorus 1 or something. So if you have a longer piece of music and it makes sense to have markers in there so you know where you are, you can do that. There are ways, you know, selections you can make and, you know, adjust the volume right there. I don't know. Yeah, see, I just probably did something I shouldn't have done. But anyway, you get the idea. You can do stuff. I hope I can control. See, it control Z and it undoes it. There you go. So anyway, so that's one of the ways that I use this program a lot. There is another way that I use it a lot, and I don't know. I'm just gonna reopen the program to show you this one. I use this thing called the sniffer. Okay, so particularly for stuff like the Solos from the Masters Monthly, where I'm generally speaking transcribing stuff based off of YouTube videos. So I'll go to the sniffer and I'll choose the YouTube sniffer, and I'll tell you I don't even know what the main sniffer is. So I don't know what that does. But the YouTube sniffer, it says enter a YouTube URL. So if I, like I have a video here, this is one of mine for copyright reasons, I'm not going to use somebody else's. But if I copy, that's the share URL, and I can put it right here and hit paste, and I'll say download, and it goes and figures out what formats are available. So typically you'll probably choose the best one. So I'll hit select that, and it's going to say where do you want to put it. I'm actually going to change that a little bit to my regular documents folder, and I have a video surgeon folder, and I'll call it my Billy Gibbons style blues lick, and it gets the title from the title of the video, which is very cool. And so you can see it's downloading it, and it says it's got about a minute to go. So while that is working, there's not much I can do. So I'll just pause the video, and through the magic of editing, we'll come back when it's done. All right, so it has come back. It says it's done. We'll go open it from, here we go. It's going to import the video. It's usually pretty quick. And had I chosen, I often choose the 640 by 360 version. I don't choose the 1280 by 720 version because I don't need it to really look all that great. Mostly I need the sound to be good. So keep that in mind when you're downloading stuff. It'll just, your computer will handle it better if you have a smaller, you know, piece of video, and that means the smaller the dimensions, the less data it takes. And now that it's in here, you can see, there we go. And so there's the example. So again, I could do the same thing and hit start. And I'll just end it here. And there you get a good idea of how that's going to be played. So if you haven't ever seen that video, that's how it works. Okay, and you know, all the same stuff applies. I can you know, if you, let's say this is the only part you need, you know, you just select. There's this selection area, right? So you just select. I guess you do. Oh yeah, just select all this, and you just delete it, and it's gone. And that's it. And now the whole video is only this long. And so then you can save that as, you know, whatever you want to call it, and you can save it. And then when you open that back up, that's a video surgeon project. Now when you open that back up, it remembers all your loop points, remembers all your markers. If it's shorter now, you know, all that stuff gets remembered. So it's a really handy tool, one that I use a lot, and it may be something very useful to you. There are other, I know that, for example, VLC, which is a very popular free player, also has some of these same capabilities. I am not that versed in how to use it. I had this first. I got really good at it. I got really used to it. I believe it's a little bit friendlier to use than some of the free tools I've seen that do this sort of thing. But there's a lot of options out there. This just happens to be what I use, so I'm sharing it with you. And it may be that you didn't even know tools like this existed, in which case you can now do some research on your own and see that, hey, these tools really do exist and they really are awesome. And you may want to either invest in one or do some research and see if one of the free alternatives will do what you need it to do out there. So hope you've enjoyed this video, and I will see you soon.